Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content will be covered today will be in the sport of college football. In today's bonus segment, I'll be giving you guys two big time game predictions for this weekend in college football, that being Ohio State versus Oregon and the Red River rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma. So we'll get to the first game that I will cover, and that will be the Ohio State Buckeyes taking on the Oregon Ducks. So you'll see the number 2 team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes, go on the road to play the number 3 ranked Oregon Ducks in a big-time Saturday night football game in college football in the Big Ten Conference. So, fun fact heading into this game, Ohio State is actually on a 4-game losing streak against opponents ranked within the top 3. So Ohio State has not cracked the code and does not know the ingredients of beating a top 3 team in college football over the last 4 meetings, matching up against teams within the top 3 rankings. So we'll see how Ohio State responds to that in this ball game against Oregon. Something to look out for in this game, X factors for both teams. Whoever wins this game is going to be won in the trenches, because you have Oregon, the Oregon Ducks defensive line ranked 6th in the country and pressures for their defensive line that gets very busy, likes to create havoc, gets pressures that turn into sacks in college football games. And then you have Ohio State's offensive line that ranks 1st in pressure rate allowed. So you're going up. So you're going to see a defensive line that likes to cause havoc, create pressures to get sacks. Then you have an offensive line that is 1st in the country and pressure rate allowed. So this is going to be a good game. If you're a fan of games won in the trenches, offensive line versus defensive line, this is your game to follow, because whatever unit gets going early and has success throughout the game, that's going to be the team that wins the ball game Saturday night. Now, I'm also looking forward to the quarterback duel of Will Howard, quarterback for Ohio State, taking on Dillon Gabriel, Oregon Ducks quarterback, transfer from Oklahoma. So I want to see which quarterback wants it more. I want to see which quarterback puts their team in position offensively to win this game Saturday night. Now, another thing to look out for this game is how good would Chip Kelly's offense be in this ball game. Now, Chip Kelly has been on the map in a lot of places over the last decade. Former head coach with the Oregon Ducks, former head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles, former head coach with the San Francisco 49ers, former head coach formerly with UCLA. And when Chip Kelly was with UCLA, he didn't have the best talent with him, and competing in that Pac-12 with teams like Oregon and other powerhouse teams in the Pac-12, because he didn't have the raw talent to match up against a team like Oregon. Didn't have the recruiting talent to match up well against Oregon. So you knew the outcome. Chip Kelly didn't really get the best of these Pac-12 teams when he was coaching with UCLA. Now finds himself as the offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now has the raw talent. Now has the raw talent to his disposal to go head-to-head against these top-tier teams now, with these two respective teams, with Oregon being added into the Big Ten. This is going to be a big test for seeing how good Chip Kelly's offense really is, because if you look at who Ohio State has played this year, they haven't played anybody close to the level of Oregon. I mean, you can only play who's on your schedule. But the first few games that Ohio State has played, they play Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Iowa. I mean, how is that proving to anybody that you're ready for Oregon? I'm just saying. But we're going to see a big-time game that's going to go down Saturday night. But this is a 50-50 game. I'm going to go with Ohio State to pick up a big road victory on the road against Oregon this weekend of college football. Big-time game. Number 2 ranked Ohio State going up against number 3 ranked Oregon. This is going to be a big-time game, but I think Ohio State's offense is going to be the reason why they win this ball game. I think their offensive line is going to show up. An offensive line that is 1st in the country in pressure allowed. And then you're going up against Oregon's defensive line that likes to create havoc and get after the quarterback. They're ranked 6th in pressures, but I think Ohio State's offensive line is going to be the reason why, one of the reasons why they win this ball game. Definitely a game that's going to be won in the trenches. But I believe that Chip Kelly is going to have a great offensive game plan for his Ohio State offense, being the offensive coordinator for the Buckeyes. Now, I don't believe they played anybody on the talent level of Oregon thus far. Their schedule speaks for itself. But I got to go with them because I feel like Chip Kelly's going to get the passing game going. Will Howard, Abuka, their star-studded wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, they're all going to be X factors in this game. So I do believe that Ohio State's offensive line is going to help them win this game. The passing game of the trio of Will Howard, Emeka Abuka, and Jeremiah Smith are going to be the reason why the Ohio State Buckeyes win this game against Oregon this weekend. Now, getting to the final game that I will cover, you'll have the number 1 ranked Texans Longhorns taking on the 18th ranked Oklahoma Sooners, and the new chapter that will be written into the Red River rivalry game. This will be, obviously the Red River is one of the biggest rivalries in college football history. Another chapter will be written between these two respective teams this weekend. So with that being said, Oklahoma has actually gotten the better of the Texas Longhorns. They've actually won their last 5 out of 6 games against Texas in college football in this Red River rivalry. So it's been one-sided in the last 5 out of 6 matchups with Oklahoma getting the better of Texas. We're going to see if that trend continues this weekend in college football. But the following blueprints I have for these teams to follow if they want to walk out of Dallas, Texas with a big win in this Red River rivalry. Starting off with Oklahoma, the defense will have to show up. They're going to have to show up in this ball game. Cannot give up the big plays in this game. Must stop the run. And can't get too carried away loading the box. I mean, Oklahoma does a pretty good job already stopping the run as it is. But they're going to have to do more than just stop the run. They're going to have to play well in the secondary. They're going to have to not get fooled on play action looks or get beat off of deep looks when Texas takes shots down the field. Their defenses has to be alert. They got to play effective and well. And that starts off with the next blueprint from them winning this game on the defensive side of the ball. They got to force turnovers. Now, Oklahoma has actually done a pretty good job forcing turnovers on the defensive side of the ball in ball games this year. They actually averaged 2.6 takeaways per game this year. That's actually ranked 3rd in FBS this college football season. Now, the blueprints for Texas winning in this game, whether it's Quinn Ewers is going to be returning to this ball game. It's going to be good to get their starting quarterback back. But whether it's Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning, I feel like that Texas would get the passing game going, because when Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning were on the field for Texas this season, they've been great passing the ball for the Longhorns. And it's one of the reasons why they find themselves as the number 1 ranked team in college football, because they both average over 225 passing yards a game, combined 17 passing touchdowns when both of them are on the field. So you can't really go wrong with who's been starting for Texas this year, but Quinn Ewers, in my opinion, is the better player at this particular time, at this particular moment. But last but not least, the defensive line for Texas is going to have to bully their way and have their way against Oklahoma's offensive line. I mean, Oklahoma's offensive line, in my opinion, this year has looked very vulnerable and suspect at times this college football season. Seeing Texas' defensive line all year long, they've been pretty good to watch. They've been pretty good and pretty fun, and they've been very dangerous. I mean, look back to that Week 2 game, how they massacred Michigan's offensive line. They got the better of them, creating havoc, creating pressures, creating sacks, creating turnovers. It all starts with the Texas defensive line getting the better of Oklahoma's offensive line, which I do believe could be a barbecue chicken alert matchup on in the trenches between those two respective teams. But with that being said, man, oh man, oh man. I'm going to go with Texas to win this Red River rivalry game against Oklahoma. I think Texas is going to get the their revenge against the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma has actually gotten the better part of Texas in this Red River rivalry, with Oklahoma winning their last 5 out of 6 games in the last previous matchups. But for all sports bettors out there, I would take Texas covering the 15-point spread in this ball game against Oklahoma. Now, I do believe that Texas's high-power offense, as Quinn Ewers returning back to the lineup, getting their starting quarterback back to the lineup, I think they're just going to be too much for this Oklahoma defense to handle. I know Oklahoma is good at stopping the run, but you got to do more than just stopping the run when you're playing the #1 team in the country in the Texas Longhorns. I think they're going to get the play action game going, and they're going to take a lot of shots down the field, deep down the field, and these receivers are going to get a lot of yards after catch in this ball game against Oklahoma. So I feel like that's a bad recipe for success for Oklahoma. Sports bettors take the 15.5-point favorite, 15.5-point spread for Texas in this ball game against Oklahoma. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.